if one tries to implement the advice of doing one thing, like it sounds so great, but of course it's so simplistic. If one then implements advice like this, then of course what eventually is almost certain it seems to happen, and then eventually what maybe then would increase in likelihood of happening is that the other variables begin to scream. The other fires one does not put out with the usage of one's time, like if one works more and works out less, of course this will have effects. One will look less like one works out. So every single social interaction, to a certain extent, then might be impacted by this. If I talk on my fitness channel about creatine usage and about body fat, but I look fatter, then of course this has an impact. So focusing on one thing is a great idea. If one then wants to spend the rest of one's time focusing on the next one thing, and then focusing on the next one thing, which now in terms of a dopaminergic optimization might be even at least temporarily slightly advantageous, because possibly it creates a greater bandwidth communication between System 2 and System 1, which is actually a strategy I have been implementing as of the last couple of months to maybe almost years. I try to follow the suggestions of System 1 to a certain extent. One could imagine like working with a child that is at the same time incredibly powerful. And so to cultivate this relationship to maybe a bigger extent, I figured I could just do what System 1 is telling me to. And the results, well, I think I never got more done than in the last year. I wanted to do social media now for about 10 years. I began finally making videos for TikTok in 2021. Now it's 2026, so that's 5 years ago. So it took me 5 years from initial idea to posting a couple of things on Instagram, to then record a podcast with a friend, to then figure, okay, I could also record my own podcast, to then figure, okay, well, what if I just record videos? And then I could also distribute them as a podcast. And so up until last year, I had 8,000 videos online. Native YouTube videos. And now it's a year later, and I did focus on this one thing. I did not really, I would say. I focused on all of the things. I have channels for different interests of mine. Because the one thing is an illusion in the sense that one thing is one box. But as soon as one has this box, and now one has a single improvement, then it's not the box anymore. So one thing is actually one definition of one workflow, for example. But of course the workflow breaks as soon as it hits reality. It's constant adaptation. Of course maybe one should pick one metric one optimizes for. But the optimization then allows different methods. It allows changing the workflows all the time, constantly. And this constant adaptation, which I did not think was that necessary up until a couple of years ago. I figured, okay, I now have this workflow, and then I just do it. But I think that's an illusion. It's an illusion because everything is constantly changing, and everything is constantly, therefore, breaking.